I made the comment yesterday how people use tragedy to either, well, I talked about them furthering agendas last week, but sometimes people use tragedy to bury agendas as well. Because I wasn't too young of a man when I started realizing in the world how certain times smoke screens get put up. The first time I really noticed it, when George Bush was it when he was reelected? Is that the hanging Chad one when he was reelected the second time?
No, that was the initial.
Okay,
initial when he beat Al Gore.
The hanging Chad situation with George Bush, and when he was about to get sworn in, there was a march planned. Jesse Jackson had planned to have a march in Washington D.C. at the same time. Well, this news was out because, of course, you need the news to get out for people to join the march. But then, kind of suspiciously, well, not necessarily suspiciously, but right about that time, yeah, just so happened the story about Jesse Jackson's mistress came out. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, and guess what happened then? March canceled. And
Yep.
I was old enough at that time to just, because I'm a pessimistic person by nature. And when things don't seem right, my antennas immediately go up. And they didn't seem right then. Like, hold on. Like, who believes that the government didn't know about this dude having side chicks until right now when they needed the information to kind of thwart a plan that was going to come against something that needed to happen?
That's like the ace in the hole. They knew.
Right. So in this situation, the South Carolina situation, this flag thing, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And I ask this question to anyone listening right now. If you guys want to, like I said, follow us on Spreaker or join Spreaker.com and then, search for Sports Kings Live and then join the chat room. Who thinks a flag is what made this silly, stupid man, walk into a church, sit down for an hour, and then stand up and kill 9 people? Does anybody think that's the case? It's a symbol. It's like, and if it wasn't that, it'd be something else. You saw the pictures of the dude with the jacket on. He had 2 other flags on his jacket. So if it wasn't that, it'd be something else. To me,
I remember I was telling you it was Rhodesia that is now what did I say? Uganda? I think it's Uganda. I could be mistaken, but it was the most racist. It was where the whole white movement, the pro-white movement was going on. The apartheid movement and all that good stuff was going on in South Africa was in Rhodesia.
And where was I at? Yeah, okay, it just being a symbol. But the bigger issue, the bigger issue is how this mentally unstable person, first of all, got his hands on a gun. And the fact that the uncle that gave him the gun thought it was cool for this dude to have a gun for his whatever birthday he gave it to him for. See,
his 21st.
We want to run away from the gun control thing. See, that's what your president was talking about when he said, "I'm getting damn tired of making these speeches, and there are issues that need to go past politics. And I know what things are like in this town. I know how hard it could be." Yeah, he was talking about guns, man. The fact that any loon could just go get a gun and shoot. But what happens is, what in my opinion, what happens is someone who's on that side of things is like, hell no, Obama's not going to take my guns. The mighty NRA says, you know what, y'all, they still flying that flag. And then black people say, you know what, you're right. Get that damn flag down. Okay. The next question for anybody listening. Now what? What's been accomplished?
Right.
Is racism gone? See, no one wants to have a and you know one of the best ways to get people to, if people already hate you more, or people who don't hate you to start hating you, force them to do something they don't want to do. Do that. Just in general. Not even talking about no flags or races, just people. Force somebody to do something that they definitely don't want to do without any type of dialogue other than it offends me, so it needs to go. Okay, yeah, it's a representation of a time in this country where certain people were fighting to keep other people, black people in general, enslaved. Yeah, that's the history of it. But now what? When are we gonna get tired? When are people gonna get tired of settling for these one-off victories? You know, the March on Selma turns into change the name of the bridge. Okay, once you do that, then what? Does the incident no longer exist once you change the name of the bridge? Okay, get the flag down. Okay, now what? Flag's down. But now, these are these one-off victories that in a year from now, no one will care about. They're bigger picture. We're talking about race relations. We're talking about relationships between human beings and people. And I ask anyone that's listening to this show, broaden your horizons. Look outside. I tell you guys all the time, I look at a show called Vice every Friday. I make sure I look at it, I DVR it, and I keep them. I don't even delete them when I'm done. Because these people go around the world. And if you think things are bad, you think this church shooting was, and it was horrendous. But when you turn on the TV and you see that kid had to be 6 years old, I saw Friday. He's carrying a machine gun to try to protect his family from ISIS. Or from the Taliban, Yeah, that's life for you. That's life for them kids. They got to hide from snipers. But we feel like we're in this vacuum, in this bubble. Like anything that happens here is the worst thing ever. Nah, broaden you, just zoom out. Zoom out and take a look. These things are everywhere. National Geographic Channel, HBO, everyone has these shows where people go around the world and they talk about the different issues that other people who aren't here in America deal with. And it ain't got nothing to do with no damn flag. Because if not that flag, then another one. I'm glad Rob said this early, because this is one of the points I'm always trying to make about people, you know, and it's no foul, but it's just a matter of not knowing. Because I didn't know. You know, I had to look. I said to myself, and the reason I knew about Mississippi was yesterday, because I was watching another show, John Oliver, the nightly show with John Oliver comes on Sunday nights on HBO. So he kind of gives me him and Bill Maher kind of give me my week of worldly news. So, okay, Mississippi is one where the actual state flag of Mississippi, where I'm trying to describe it to you the best way I can. Okay, picture the American flag, and where the stars are, remove the stars and put a Confederate flag there in that little square. And the rest of the flag is just three big bars, red, white, and blue bars.
Yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, boy. I'm looking at it now.
So who's going to Mississippi now? Okay, who's going there? The second one they give you,
the Convicis.
The second one they give you on this list I'm looking at is Alabama, Florida, and it's not necessarily the Confederate flag, but it is a version of it. It says the Alabama state flag was designed to evoke the battle flag of the Alabama infantry in the Civil War. Who do you think they were fighting for? Oh, okay. Just asking. And the Floridian flag, they look almost identical. So it's basically a white background with with like a big red X. Right.
Yeah.
Then you have Arkansas. And this one looks nothing like the Confederate flag, but I'm going to read you the description of it. Well, I'm going to tell you what it is. It's a red background with a blue diamond in the middle that's surrounded by stars. It's a white diamond in the middle of that blue diamond. It says Arkansas in the middle, one diamond up top, and three diamonds under Arkansas, if you guys can picture that. The blue star above the text, above Arkansas, in the flag reportedly represents the Confederacy. The three lower stars represent the countries that have claimed Arkansas since the colonial beginnings, France, Spain, and the United States. So y'all going to Arkansas next, Florida, Alabama, and then my fair state of Georgia. Rob talked about how a few years ago there was a big issue here about the state flag containing the Confederate flag. But because people depend on other people's stupidity and ignorance, I'm going to call it ignorance, just not knowing, they're able to pull this stuff over your eyes. Here's what the Georgia flag is. The Georgia flag consists of the first national flag of the Confederacy. Yeah, before the what you call them? Right, the stars and bars. That's what you said.
Stars and bars.
Yeah, before that, there was another flag. Yeah, it's the one that flies over our state capital here in Georgia. The only difference is it's where you have the stripes on the American flag. It has two big red bars and one red bar in the middle, and in the corner where you have the stars, there is a star. The stars in the circle representing the 13 colonies, which would be the original Confederate flag. But all they did was different here in Georgia was just place the Georgia seal in the middle of it. yeah. My point is,
but remember the original flag that Governor Perdue came up with was that blue flag. Remember, it was the blue flag that had the Georgia state seal with the 13 stars going around it, and then it was a banner up under it that had the original American flag, it had the Georgia state seal, the American flag, and it had the stars and bars and said, "In God we trust." Yeah. So,
just stop being bamboozled, man. Like, you're not changing nothing. Yeah. It changed,
and I think,
but it changed. It basically changed for the worse. You know what I mean?
You're right, and I think what ended up happening was I think that when the other people that was raising hell with Governor Perdue about him not changing the flag back, I think somebody explained it to them like, well, this is still representative of the Confederacy,
right?
Because it just kind of went away. Nobody continued to force the issue. Like, hey, we need, like, what's up with the flag? What's up with the flag? So
look,
crazy.
Inevitably, I'm about dialogue, especially when you're talking about adults. If we got differences or grievances with another person, find a way to articulate them, minus the emotion that comes with things like race talks and race relations, and find out, like, who knows anything about anybody who supports this Confederate flag. I don't know anybody who can literally tell me that they know something about one of these people, other than the fact they must be rednecks and racist. All right. You might be right. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
But as long as no one knows, what happens is you just make stuff up about people. That's what bigotry is. When you don't know and you refuse to be educated about another person or a group of people, you become a bigot because you make stuff up. And a lot of times it's stupid stuff. I talked about last week, like apparently the Germans thought black people were supposed to have tails because that's what they were told, and they had never seen black people before. Then when they did, or I don't know if the Germans or whoever it was in World War, whatever it was, So if no one takes the time out to learn about someone else, you take down all the flags you want to. And by the way, in a couple weeks, you know what y'all gonna be celebrating? Independence Day. Yeah. How many Negroes were independent on that day? Yeah, crickets.
None.
Crickets. But y'all gonna still celebrate. You ain't telling nobody to take the American flag down, are you? Like, stop being stupid and hypocritical about this stuff. There are real issues.
And what's even funnier than that, man? I mean, I can't even say funny, but just kind of one of those things where people are really uneducated. Like, technically, our Independence Day, the black people, was last week, Juneteenth.
Yeah,
right?
Like June 16th or something like that?
The 15th.
15th.
And it really is the 15th, 16th, and 17th. It's like
right.
a 3-day type thing.
Right, because it took a little time to let all the Negroes know.
Yeah, but then, technically they still didn't get freed until, like, some states didn't free their slaves until Abraham Lincoln did the whole, what was the proclamation?
Emancipation Proclamation.
Right.
That happened after Juneteenth?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes. I'm pretty damn sure about that. I'm pretty sure. I'll review my facts, but I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, look into that.
But the crazy part about Juneteenth is, while it is the celebration of the slaves being freed, if you will, the biggest celebration for Juneteenth goes on in Canada, not even in America.
Well, I mean,
because of course,
America don't want to notice. They don't want to notice that. They don't want to recognize it. Well, we don't want to recognize it.
But I mean, it was kind of crazy. I don't know. Have you ever listened to Dick Gregory?
Yes, I've heard his stand up.
No, well, not the stand up, but just his general conversation. But I listened to him on this radio program over the weekend, and some of the stuff that he was saying was it was very topical because, of course, he was talking about the Charleston shooting and how the Underground Railroad started right there at Emmanuel AME. And then, you know, you had part of the Underground Railroad that broke off and went towards New York. Then you had part of the Underground Railroad that